There, the first presentation is a picture, and it says something. Sometimes the chains that prevent us from being free are more mental than physical. Very self-explanatory. And also there are a few thoughts that are projected there. So, I think you've heard this severally. If effectively managed, the youth bulge. What do we mean by that? Majority of population in Africa today are youths of between 18 to 35 thereabout. Majority of people are in that age group. So it could become one of Africa's drivers of economic growth, delivering significant demographic benefits as it has done in some of the Asian tigers. And it was Churchill who said, the pessimist sees difficult in every opportunity, the optimist sees opportunity in every difficulty. So I think those are some of the things that I want to put across to you so that it can, can joke your mind, so that as you go along, believe in yourself. Believe in yourself and say that I can be able to do this. So let us move on. Those are just the introduction of my presentation. That's the map of Baringo County, that's 30 wards. Very quickly, population statistics. Very quickly, let's move to the next slide. Now, let me go to the gist of the day. The opportunities in livestock, opportunities in agriculture. When we talk about agriculture in Baringo County, we're talking of agriculture that is, it includes the agriculture, the crops, the livestock, those are the animals, and then we have the fish, the fisheries. So we have opportunities, yeah? As I mentioned before, livestock is the main livelihood in Baringo County, but there are other activities that can be harnessed to improve food security as well as create opportunities. And these are in agriculture, livestock, veterinary, fish farming, and beekeeping. Now, opportunities in livestock. Because the presentation I have to do it in a very short time, I just put it in point form. But I'll try to explain as we go along the way, opportunities that you can use as youth, things that you can do self-employment. Now, in dairy farming, keeping of animals for milk production, as I mentioned earlier, many of us went to school courtesy of some animal. It could have been through sale of milk. But have we thought about seriously investing in milk as a youth group? Putting together, even from 2-3 cows, in 10 years' time, we can be talking of a multi-million business in terms of milk production. Right now, our county is opening up. The Baringo County government is building a cooling plant in collaboration with Babscos. There's another one coming up at ATC. Now, as youth, how are you preparing yourself to align yourself to those opportunities that are coming up? Yeah? Artificial insemination services. In Baringo County, artificial insemination services right now are purely privately owned businesses. I know there's some youth that are trained in veterinary trained youths, but they have not fully employed into artificial inseminated business. We are still depending majorly on indigenous kind of cows, but we need improved breeds. Are we still going to depend on people from outside to bring for us that technology? Or are we going to strategize ourselves and ensure that as a youth who has trained in veterinary, I can be able to offer those services even at my locality? Then you build a name from there and build a brand moving on from there. Feeds formulation and packaging. As I move along the road, sometimes you see a lot of hay being sold along the way. Yeah? Hay being sold along the way. But there's a lot of opportunity in feed formulation. I know a kilo of feed, the premixed feed for animals is not less than 2,600 Kenya shillings for the 3 kg or 5 kg package, that kind of thing. So let's look at those opportunities. Feed formulation. When we want to buy feed for our animals, Where do we buy it from? From the agrovet shops. Where do they get it from? We are the suppliers of this animal feed. Do we have a manufacturing plant in Baringo for animal feed? Do we? Yes. So can we think along those lines? And because these are things that you can learn. They are not rocket science. It is not rocket science to make a feed formulation and manufacture, package it, take it to KEBS, and be a supplier for Baringo and outside Baringo. Milk value addition as a small cottage processing for things like cheese. I think that one it's a reputation which will be explained later. Sheep and goats. Let me just touch it very briefly. Yes, we have a lot of goats. We are known Baringo for the Koriema goat. When you go to Baringo, when you go to Nairobi or outside Baringo County and you say I come from Baringo, few of the things that we are identified with are honey and meat, the Koriema meat. But have we felt that the Koriema meat, the brand Koriema meat, has brought us the benefits that we deserve to get from there? No. Do we have meat supply stations in Nairobi, Nakuru? What are our youth doing? Are we able to connect with traders in Nairobi so that now we can be able to talk to them directly and say, yes, we can supply our meat from Baringo directly to Nairobi? There are a lot of middlemen that are coming and taking that space because as youth, we don't want to do jobs that we feel are not for us, that we feel we need identifying us. So let us think along those lines. Hides and skins industry. It's another industry that is barely scratched. A few days ago, I was at a slaughterhouse, which are not mentioned in our county. And I found that they are slaughtering the goats and the sheep, and they're piling the skins at one corner. And I just out of curiosity, I asked the slaughter person, what do you do with these skins? Unazipeleka wapi? Then he told me, sasa zingine hata tunatupa. There's somebody who comes from Nairobi, I don't know, he comes from Nairobi or where, he buys them at 50 shillings for one piece. I said, okay. I asked him, do you know where he takes them to? He said, hata tujui, you know. Then he said, even he comes and he checks them, even a piece of a skin that has a small scratch, and I rusha kando. But later he collects them and takes them, everything. So have you asked yourself, where does this person take these hides and skins to? If a person can come all the way from Nairobi or from Thika to pick hides and skins, does it not tell us something? That is an opportunity that we are overlooking. Offering of slaughtering services in abattoirs. That is still a service that can be offered by youth. Retailing in in meat shops, as I said earlier, apart from a butchery, can we have like meat depots manned by youths in Nakuru or those big towns, so that now you can make linkages with the local slaughterhouses, take your meat to these towns, and make your profit and make your money and create employment for yourself and for your friends. Poultry hatchery services, that is the egg supply, poultry meat supply to markets outside the county, which I think I've talked about. For the poultry again, I don't think we have, I still see people coming from outside the Baringo County, kubeba kuku na boda boda. Along the way you see them, many of them. But have you thought as youth that you can come together as a group and have a chicken rearing, place and connect to markets outside? Nowadays, people are going for the indigenous chickens. The indigenous chicken is the real thing now because of many diseases associated with many chemicals that are used for the other type of chicken. But do we have that? No, we do not have. So can we look at those opportunities? Can we look at how we can be able to step in where the middlemen are or where the opportunities are, and to be able to create employment for ourselves? The egg industry, yes, the kienyeji egg is also selling very fast nowadays. And I think last year or about 2 years ago, we had information that Kenya was importing eggs from Uganda. And I asked myself, why? Why are we importing eggs? Is that not something that we can do as youth? Is that not something that we can produce? As a county and as a Department of Livestock, we have programs that we can help the youth to really hold your hand so that we can show you probably how to go about creating a poultry, what to do, the vaccinations and all that. We have some groups that we are supporting and they're doing very well. And as youth, I'm challenging you to come forward so that we can be able to assist you and connect you with the financial institutions so that you can build that business and create employment for yourselves. There is also the value addition of meat through frying or roasting in services like catering services. That can be done by the youth themselves. Value addition of milk products like the yogurts, the cheese and other milk products. It's wide, it's there. How many of us can be able to come together and learn how to make yogurt and market it to be among the best yogurt in the market? It is very possible. It is not impossible. Why should I walk into a supermarket and see only a few brands of the yogurt? Yet we are among the counties that have quite a number of, quite a huge production of milk, because we are not seizing those opportunities as youths. We can also do breeding, propagation of the stock and the sale of the mature birds can lead to income generation among the youth. I will expound this very briefly. We are coming up with the Mao Slaughterhouse. And in the projection of the Mao Slaughterhouse, we hope that it's going to be an export, market. It's going to cater for the export market. And now, in preparation for the supply of the meat to this slaughterhouse, we project that it will be slaughtering 1,000 goat and sheep per day and 200 cows. 1,000 sheep and goats per day and 200 cows. Now, we are preparing our farmers right now, including the youth. If there's a youth from Mogocho right now, maybe you can attest that we are helping the community come up with a holding ground whereby they can put breeding feedlots, what we call feedlots for animals. So that's an opportunity you can see right now because a market is coming up so that you can be able to supply directly to Maui and other slaughterhouses as youth groups. We can do the breeding of cows, the breeding of bulls, the breeding of goats, so that we can be able to strategize and supply that market which is coming up. Another opportunity that is there for the youth is keeping of ornamental birds as well as other emerging livestock, which they can sell and make some good money out of it. For most of us who have traveled to Nairobi, along Limuru, along Limuru, after Limuru, there are some people who sell some birds along the way, some chicken, some hizo kuku, sijui zinaitwa nini? Yes. We don't have some in Baringo here. But have we thought of doing such a thing? So that we can be supplying the indigenous. There are some hotels that take those indigenous birds. As long as you follow the procedure, get your licenses from KWS, keep some indigenous birds like the guinea fowls and the others, and make some money for yourself. Those opportunities that are there, but we have never looked at them. We have a lot of guinea fowls in Baringo County. But have you thought about really domesticating them or putting them in a place that you can be able to have a niche market for yourself? So that's food for thought. Still, in agriculture, we have some opportunities as well. We have a lot of tomatoes right now, and tomatoes are very perishable goods. When we do value addition of tomatoes, processing it into tomato sauce and paste, we create more opportunities and more money in our pockets. And it is not very difficult to make some of these things. Making tomato sauce, you do not need a huge factory. You do not need a huge investment. You can start it right from your kitchen as a group of youths. Google, go to YouTube, find out how it's done. make it, give to a few of your friends, sell to a few of your relatives, test it, go to KEBS, register it, package it, sell it. At the end of 2-3 years, surely, will you tell me that you'll be the same? You will not be the same. So there's a lot that you can do value addition there. I want us to look at this case study of investment in specifically in food processing. So in food processing, it has a long chain that can create many jobs for the youth. It starts with the raising the fruit seedlings. Fruit seedlings have a very high market demand. Right now we're talking about avocado, Hass avocado. How many of you have gone to a seedling nursery? How many of us, just by a raise of hands, how many of us have been to a seedling nursery? The youth? None of us? Quite a number of us. Now, did you ask a few questions about how much they used to produce one seedling? Let me tell you, I was very amazed. I went to one of the seedlings in our county in Marigat, one of the biggest seedling nursery. And so I asked the young man who was there, the seedling, the avocado seedling is being sold at 100 shillings, the Hass, 100 shillings per one. Then I asked him, so how much does it take for you to produce or to grow one seedling? He told me it's very little. They have people who collect for them the seedling, ile avocado kutoka kwa market, ile watu wametupa, they take it. There's people who just pick for them, some even free or 1 shilling per one that seedling. 1 shilling. So they come and they germinate. When they're in a May, they cut the shoot, na wana propagate. I hope I'm using the right word. Yeah, the graft, sorry, and the grafting. Now he told me the most expensive part is the grafted part of it, because hakuna Baringo, wanaenda kutoa Murang'a, I don't know Muguga, I don't know wapi. So I asked him, you mean there are no people who have the avocado plant that you can use for grafting? They say, no, we don't have. We have to move outside Baringo County. So I told him I have like 5. So he told me, bring it. I'm like, no, I'm not bringing it. So now that is 1 shilling for the seedling, and then for the packaging, ile karatasi yake, I think it's about 1 shilling. So at the end of it all, his production cost is less than 10 bob. But he's making 100 shillings. Even that week, he had somebody from Elgeyo Marakwet collecting 14,000 seedlings. So youth, there's a lot of employment out there. There's a lot of opportunity out there. But because we have not thought about those things, we are thinking, I need to work in an office, I need to work in a place where lazima nivae tie. Believe you me, at the end of my journey at the county, I think I want to go back fully into agriculture, because I have seen it is where it's a gold mine. It's a gold mine. And if you just identify the opportunity, I'm telling you, you will not regret it. Let me just also give you an example of a farmer who is doing very well in Baringo County. Last month, we had an opportunity to invite an organization called AFA, and we had a farming clinic with farmers from Sacho. And we made a few visits to a few farmers who are doing very well in Baringo County. There was one particular mzee that stood up for me, and it really touched my heart. This mzee, I see him as my father. He's the age mate of my father. And huyu mzee akatu invite kwa nyumba yake, kwa shamba yake. And what he had in his farm ni kahawa. And there's this fruit called macadamia. He had, I think, 25 trees of macadamia. And so now we were very much interested in the macadamia. So when he broke down to us how much he earned from the macadamia, we were left looking at each other and saying, I think hii kazi ya county tutawacha, tukuja tufanye hii kazi. And from the coffee as well, he's making quite an amount of money, despite the fact that prices of coffee in Baringo has not been very good in the past years. But he has been able to build his house, a very nice stone house. He has been able to take his children through school, all of them. The last born has gone through university and is living a very comfortable life. The mzee is 70-something years, but he doesn't know his age because he's very active and money is not a problem for him. What does that tell us? That for us to be able to make a living, for us to be able to live properly, we do not need to be employed. We can self-employ and live very comfortably. Now, I was looking at this case study and I think I talked about the fruits and I talked about the seedlings, which was a case study about the cost of producing a seedling and selling it, and just put the mathematics into perspective. Now, we talked, the presenters before me talked about loans and all that. As a youth, probably you might not have that money and their doors are very open. Seize that opportunity. Think about going into those kinds of businesses. I'm not telling you to go into seedling, but there are a lot of opportunities that you go back and you sit and assess yourself and say, what do I want to do? Look for advice. Talk to people who are there. Visit the farmers. Talk to them. For our fathers and the farmers who are, or the older generation people, farmers, they might not have the knowledge of technology that we have. They might not be able to use, platforms to be able to market their products, but they have done well at that level. What about us who can access technology? What about us who can access people outside there? What about us youth who can go to Nairobi, Nakuru, Eldoret, where to do market assessment and establish markets and come back home and establish the businesses and take it directly there? I think there's a lot of potential that we need to really look into and see how it can benefit us maximally. Example 2, I think I just talked about ICT. Youth in ICT for agriculture production and marketing to enhance their trade. Use of the mobile phones and computers. There are a lot of apps developed to market products out there. I don't know if we have one specifically linking Baringo farmers to bigger markets out there. There's a lot of opportunity for ICT. Most of us here, we know how to use the phones. You do not need to be an ICT guru for you to be able to come up with an app to market products, to be that linkage between the farmer and the market. So there's a lot that you can be able to do, a lot of information, educating of farmers, giving out information and all that, and create a name for yourself, create a niche for yourself. I think those are some of the things that the youth can do. You can have ICT centers run by some of the youth groups as businesses to ease management of the same. I think that's the model. You can have a centralized resource center at the ward headquarters for every administrative ward. If we hold each other like that as youth of Baringo, for every ward you have organized groups. Then now we have a big umbrella for the county youth, and we have all that synergy and connection to the markets, networking with other youths everywhere, or outside the county, and exchanging information, exchanging ideas. I think we can be able to go far. I hope we can be able to see this, that every group can contribute 50% of the money required to purchase a complete set of a computer, printer, and scanner. The other 50% should be provided by the government or a development partner. They are here today, sharing the cost. In this model, every group that wishes to have a computer will have it. Group members who have been trained in ICT will teach the others under their own agreed terms. The one group computer will be managed by the group committee. Under this arrangement, each ward will have as many computers as the number of active groups. This is just a model, and it can be for anything, not just for computers, it can be for anything. So let us think about that. And I don't know how organized we are as groups in our wards, in our sub-counties. I don't know how organized we are. Ama ni kila mtu for myself. Kila mtu for myself. and God for us all. Yes, I know that one is there, but I think if you want to go far, there's a saying that says if you want to go far, you walk alone. But if you want to go further, walk with people. Still, issues of investment that youth can get involved in is to promote vegetable growing using greenhouse technology. The greenhouse technology is very popular among the youth. However, its adoption should be allowed only after proper training on its establishment and management. This is something that we can do from the county to train youths on development or growing using greenhouses. We have programs like those, and if the youth are interested, we can be able to come and train you and now link you to institutions that can be able to give you the funds to be able to probably come up with a greenhouse. But alternatively, just go back with the same slide. I wanted to talk about the vegetable growing. It is not a must that we use greenhouse. We can have a serious vegetable farm and supply a whole range of markets. There are people who specialize in supplying supermarkets with the kienyeji bogas. And I know some of us are planting it around here, around Mogotio, along River Molo and others, along with the tomatoes. But have we thought about doing it now in a commercial way and connecting it? Because vegetable market is a very big market, especially in markets like Nairobi. You go to a market in Nairobi, within the first few hours of the market, mboga hiyo imeisha. And it is not coming from Nairobi, it's coming from outside Nairobi. So why can't Baringo be among the suppliers of indigenous vegetable to the markets in Nakuru, Nairobi, Eldoret, and elsewhere? Think about it. So I think this is a summary of what I've just been presenting. We have the enterprise, we have the constraint, we have the opportunities. And the enterprise in horticulture, that is fruit production, including mangoes, pawpaws, bananas, avocados, and citrus. The constraints are the poorly organized market channels. Just what I've been saying. There is no proper linkages to proper markets. We get brokers, middlemen coming to buy avocados for 5 shillings, 2 shillings from the markets, and going and selling it for 20 shillings, 30 shillings, 50 shillings in the markets out there. Then we have lack of value addition. Just the things have been said. Let me just talk briefly about value addition of things like the mangoes in Baringo County. During the mango season, I think we got a lot of mangoes. And mangoes are some of the fruits that can be done value addition. Who knows how we can value add mangoes? Just by a raise of your hand. Do we know how to value add mangoes? Apart from the juice, I know obviously the one like this, please.
Dried.
Yes. Dried mangoes. Dried mangoes. If you harvest your mango, let me just give an example. The biggest mango in Baringo here. The maximum it can fetch is how much? Mango kubwa sana kwa soko kawaida. 30 bob ikienda sana. In fact, people will say that is expensive, isn't 30 shillings a piece of mango. If you slice that piece of mango into those slices, dried, you see the dried mango, the strips of dried mango. That one fruit can give you, I don't know how many grams, about 100 grams, thereabout. And do you know how much, how many shillings 100 grams of dried mango is? Who knows? 100 grams of dried mango, how much it is in the market out there? Even in a supermarket in Nakuru, it's 189 Kenya shillings. Think about those opportunities, youth. You can pull together as a youth group, chukueni hizo mangoes, wakati ya mango season imefika. Slice them, dry them in the sun. We have the best sun in Baringo. Dry them, package them, sell them. It is even among the most nutritious fruit. dried mango. It is an opportunity that is there. It has not been explored. I see a few people doing it, but that is an opportunity that you can seize. Others include, of course, the juices and the syrups. So the other challenge or constraint is inadequate on farm value addition, which I think I've also talked about. And the opportunities are right there. For groundnuts, there's inadequate farm value addition. Njugu yetu tunavuna tu alafu tunauza ikiwa hivyo namna hiyo, sio hivyo tu. Yeah, think about processing it by grilling it and packaging it. It will have more value in terms of sales than when you sell it without adding any value. Let me now talk about opportunities in the aquaculture, that is in the fishing industry. I know it is not a big thing in Baringo County, but there's a lot of opportunity there. There's a high demand for supplementary fish feeds, yeah, pond liners and fingerlings. Youth can generate income by supplying some of these inputs for farmers that cannot easily access them. When we want to buy pond liners, even for private ponds, fish ponds, we go all the way to Kisumu or to Nakuru or to Eldoret. We do not have a supplier of these things in Baringo, none. Hakuna. Service providers, the youth that have practical aquaculture knowledge can take the opportunity of obtaining an income by providing technical advice to practicing or prospective fish farmers. Not many of people have skills or knowledge kwa mambo ya fish, but if you can take that line, I think it can really benefit you a lot because not many people are in that line. For the fish feeds also, I think there is a gap, a lot of gap here. Even for our farmers, the ones that have fish ponds, we really struggle to get the fish feeds, and we have to get the quality feeds. We usually get it from outside the county, Nakuru, mostly Kisumu. Most of the best suppliers are in Kisumu actually, and so we give them a call and they bring them all the way here. So that is an opportunity that is there for the youth. And I think that's just explanation about the feed factory for fish suppliers. And then for the farmer mobilization, youth are very energetic and can easily play the role of mobilizing fish farmers into groups, especially those located in remote areas where access to aquaculture facilities is a problem. Groups enable farmers cut some production costs like feed, and in the process enable youth obtain respect and social status in the community. These youth could easily be voted in leadership positions in these sections. As you move along, interacting with the farmers, interacting with people, you're also building a personal brand. That is what we're talking about. Fish has a high market, which makes aquaculture a profitable venture. Youth engaged in fish farming will create a source of income and also supply nutritious animal protein, not only to their homestead, but to their community. I think sometime last year or early this year, there was a lot of uproar about fish coming from China. Fish coming from China. That tells you that probably there is a gap. As much as we have the Lake Victorias and the big, sources of fish in this country, we have Lake Baringo also, which has not been harnessed enough. I was privileged to go to Lake Baringo one of the evenings, and near the Kambisamaki market there are women who are selling fish gotten directly from the lake. And we just had an interaction with them briefly just to ask them where else, apart from frying the fish thereabout, where else do they supply the fish? And they said there are people who come from all the way from Nairobi, from Mombasa, to take fish from here because it's among the freshest, it's among the, what we call it, pure in terms of, the purity of our lake. So there's an opportunity there for fish market. The youth can mobilize funds and set up cooling facilities in their communities, which can act as essential storage points for farmers that have not been able to sell their fish, like that place in Kandisamaki. If you can come together as youth and procure a cooling unit there, so that now we can be able to assist those farmers and store that fish there and create markets out there, and so now you have a constant supply of the fish, and you reduce fish rotting, and you now increase profits. So those are opportunities that are there in the aquaculture. I think I've said that. I will say that. I think that is the end of my presentation. And before I go to sit, I want to state a few things, state a few facts that will probably, I want to leave it with you to think about it, and probably it will be a challenge that will open up your mind. There are a few facts here that I want to state. It's a fact that we are importing fish from China. I think I just mentioned that. It's a fact that we are importing rice from Mexico and other places. It's a fact that we are importing eggs from Uganda and other places. It's a fact that we are importing sugar from, say, India or where, and other places. It is a fact that we are exporting coffee. It is a fact that we are exporting tea. It is a fact that we are exporting avocado. And it's also a fact that many of us have gone to school courtesy of a cow, a goat, or a sheep. When you look at those facts that I've said, I think you can pinpoint and choose where your opportunity lies in. It is upon you to choose where your line of livelihood is going to come from. It is upon you to think and know which opportunity best suits me and how do I go about it to harness the best of it and make it work it for you. Thank you very much, and God bless you.